couple months before the fight, we always, myself, Pita, and even Mikey, we always said, you know what, we think Crawford could pull it off. We were not betting on it. I never bet on it because obviously Canelo just a bigger, stronger guy. So we knew it wasn't going to be easy. We knew it was going to be, but we did give Crawford a shot of pulling it off. And then the day of the fight, I wasn't there, but I did a talk show with a bunch of.
Hey, I saw that. I saw you changed your pick.
And I said, look,
you did.
Crawford by decision.
Right.
They asked me, give us your final. I said, Crawford by decision. I talked to Bomac that Thursday because I was in Vegas, and right. Bomac had somebody in that same card on the Thursday before the fight. We talked. He felt very confident about their training camp, about how camp went, but motivated the shape that he was in. So I said, you know what, Crawford by decision, and he did exactly what Bomac was telling me about. He boxed beautiful. He even stood in front of him to exchange and landed the better punches. So that tells you a lot.
Crazy scenario. I mean, when you watch, we normally don't see Canelo Alvarez in fights like that where he shows such frustration on display, right? You don't really see him
because he's never been there. He's never done that. That's what he needs. That's what he needed. But he didn't do. He didn't even try. The thing is that what we've seen with, he's Mexican. What we've seen with Mexican fighters like Chavez, who was having a hard time against Mayweather. Chavez, who was having a hard time against Meldrick Taylor. But he kept going. He kept trying and, missing, getting hit, whatever. But he kept going, cutting the ring. Had that mentality, that heart of a warrior. Barrera did it a few times. Morales did it a few times. Just to mention those. Marquez coming from behind, or a very close, tough fight against Pitbull Diaz. Juan, what do they call him?
Baby Bull.
The Baby Bull. I said Pitbull. Baby Bull. But, never gave up, kept going, kept doing it. That's what Canelo missed, man. Even if he would have lost, but never changed the game plan, never tried anything different. Always kept the same rhythm, even though he was losing, still looking for that left to the body with no, from far, opening up, keeping his chin up. He's never been in those situations, so maybe that hurt him.
The next morning I talked with Fernando Vargas.
Yes.
And Fernando Vargas said, that he's had so much success in the past in his life. Maybe he just didn't care. Maybe there was
too comfortable.
A little bit
Look, bringing up Fernando Vargas, he's we're Mexican, but he's not born in Mexico, so I didn't mention him. But remember Fernando versus Trinidad? First round, Fernando gets dropped and hurt, but he still kept coming. Then a few rounds later, drops Trinidad. That's what Canelo's missing. That's what people want to see from Canelo. That's what Mexicans want to see from Canelo. Where you're losing, like the perfect example of Crawford. You're losing. Fucking cut the ring, throw more punches, get a little dirty if you can. To try to find a way. Chavez jumped to reach that right hand against Mayweather and fucking dropped him. You know what I mean? Because he just jumped. He was desperate to land that punch.
Right.
That's something Canelo has never showed us. Canelo has never had that. He's too comfortable. He's got too much money. He's accomplished so much. He's one of the biggest in history when it comes to accomplishments and money. His trainer, same thing, Eddie Reynoso. Great person, great friend that I could talk to, but he got too comfortable too. Both of them, they just got too comfortable, I think, and I don't blame them either. They've fucking done so well.
In a lot of large boxing circles, they're being called businessmen.
They are.
A lot of people are saying, hey, these are businessmen that happen to put fights on, but it's just not the same as it used to be. Where do you think Canelo goes from here? Obviously, there may be big fights still out there in the future. Who would you like to see him come back against?
Canelo's an athlete. Canelo's a great athlete, a very dedicated person. He's focused. He trains hard, but he needs that hunger. He needs that. I think I wouldn't mind. It wouldn't hurt and I know that they're probably never going to do it because they've been together so. But add somebody to their camp, add somebody, a new voice.
Would
somebody
you invite Canelo down to
somebody that's
RTP?
somebody that's going to. No, well, no. Canelo's not gonna. Nobody's gonna invite Canelo over. Canelo's gonna bring them over to him. You know what I mean? And maybe that's he's so powerful and so rich that's probably what would be the best thing for him to do is go out of your comfort zone, go somewhere where you're not going to be the main guy, where there's other superstars. You know what I mean? Maybe that, I don't know. I'm just trying to
a little bit of a Rocky 3 moment for him, where
kind of like that.
He kind of go train.
He needs to make a change. I think I would love to see the rematch. I think in the rematch, if he comes back with the hunger that he needs, he could beat Crawford, because Crawford, is very talented, but I think Canelo could beat him. Canelo's strong, man. Canelo's strong. Canelo could take a good punch. So I think he could just go and don't respect his punch and throw punches even though you're gonna get hit, but don't give up. Keep going until you hit him.
What adjustments would you make if you were working with Canelo?
Well, look, it's hard to say, because obviously, like I said, I'm not the one in camp, or I'm not the one trying to badmouth anybody, because they've accomplished so much together. But I think that there had to be a little more in the corner, a little more, where to a point where you're a little bit mad, come on, fucking do this, be a little more aggressive,
a little more passion.
Yes, they're too comfortable.
Coach, what do you think happens with Crawford next? Do you think that a lot of people have kind of been talking about, I've been hearing the murmuring about 160, him going down to 160 and maybe trying to unify or just take the belts from there?
Well, if he does that'd be fucking, look, he's already...
Crawford, Janabek, what's that fight look like?
Crawford's already the first three division undisputed. So doing it one more time would be fucking unbelievable. Would be the best of all times, because he's already accomplished more than anybody else. But he's already done it that he doesn't have to do it anymore. He could just retire right now and say goodbye to boxing and be a legend. And I wouldn't be mad for him if he does something like that. But there's so much money out there. There's so many fights. A rematch with Canelo is huge. So I also can't blame him for not making that money.
Everybody saw the headline that Turkey made the next morning with the thinking emoji saying, I wonder if David can make 168. I asked Bomac about it the next day. Bomac said, nah, we ain't interested in fighting.
I wouldn't do that either. There's no way. Crawford just got the biggest win in his career and one of the biggest wins in history. He doesn't need to go out there and risk. But it is too big, too strong. We don't want to see a champion do so much and accomplish so much and then end his career with a bad choice, a bad fight that he shouldn't take. I wouldn't do it.
Not a good matchup for Terence at all.
Not a good one for Terence.
Too big, too strong.
I think there's so many fights out there for him. Even at 168, those guys that fought on the Lester Martinez, it's his teammate, so they would never fight. But in Billy, those are good fights.
Lester was a damn good fight.
That was a badass fight. But even those fights right there don't make any sense for Crawford anymore, because Billy is a very dangerous fighter, strong fighter, solid motherfucker, throws a lot of punches. So that's a dangerous fight for Crawford. So why would he even take that? He either fights the rematch or moves down to 160 just to become a 6th division champion and to try to become undisputed in his 4th division would be unbelievable. But taking those chances against young, I don't even know how old Billy is, but he's a dangerous dude. So why would he even risk that? It doesn't make any sense for him. I think rematch with Canelo would be the best thing for him to do.
Also, rumors swirling around of him going down to fight Jermall Charlo at 160 pounds.
He doesn't need to do that anymore.
No need, huh?
Nah, no need. He doesn't need to prove nothing to Charlo, unless he wants to make Charlo a nice little payday, but he doesn't have to. I think if he wants to come down to 160, it's to become champion at 160 and to become undisputed at 160 maybe, or stay at 168 and have a rematch with Canelo.
Sell to millions of people online with Shopify's social media and marketplace integration. You can sell your products directly on social channels and reach millions more shoppers by connecting your store to Amazon, eBay, and more. Head over to Shopify and start your free trial today.